Hi everyone, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. Angelica, one of my adult skaters, just passed her adult pre-bronze moves in the field. Not only did she passed with honors. The thought process behind receiving honors is that it may help skaters to make an association about the degree of accomplishment. To pass adult pre-bronze moves with honors, skaters are encouraged to have a greater level of preparedness to more fully develop the concepts introduced at the test level, and to have an even greater understanding of skating and balance over the blade. U.S. figure skating's goal is to create the potential to increase the level of quality. This season, 21 to 2022, is the first season that U.S. figure skating has introduced passing with honors to adult pre-bronze moves and pre-preliminary moves. Angelica is my first skater to receive honors on her first test. In this video, I will go through her test with you, so that you know exactly what it takes to pass your adult pre-bronze moves, potentially with honors. I'll also compare adult pre-bronze to the standard track pre-preliminary moves, and I'll explain how it differs. Angelica is 24 years old, and she's been skating for about a year. She began to prepare for the adult pre-bronze moves test in September, and has made incredible progress over the past month. I attribute her progress to her eagerness to pass, openness to listen and apply my feedback and make necessary corrections when she practiced independently. I should also note that she began to make the most noticeable progress when she upgraded her equipment. I always discuss how critical it is to have appropriate skates that fit correctly. Angelica's skating is proof of that. Around the new year, she decided to invest in new skates. She went to see Greg at Polar Skate Shop. If you watch any of my videos, I always mention how Greg is my go-to guy. When she went to see Greg to get fitted for new boots and blades, Angelica discovered the skates she had been skating on were actually too big. 2 sizes too big, if I'm remembering that correctly. I had anticipated a more extended adjustment period when she got her skates in the appropriate size. By the way, she got John Wilson Coronation Ace Lite blades. These are the same blades that my skater Peyton has. They are great blades for skaters that focus more on edges, turns, and spins than jumps. But they're not right for everyone, so check with your coach and your skate tech before you invest in blades. If you missed my videos with Peyton, there's a link to them in the description down below. Angelica adjusted really quickly and actually progressed faster when she upgraded her equipment. In all, it took her about 6 months to prepare to take and pass her first test. This is a fairly typical timeline for adult skaters, taking at least 1 lesson a week and practicing independently on top of that with the appropriate equipment. Before I get into all the specifics, if you're new here, I not only coach skaters on proper skating techniques and work with them off the ice, I also do my best to fill the knowledge gap when it comes to navigating and understanding the US figure skating system. I try to make videos on topics that skaters and parents may find difficult to understand. Just in case you haven't watched any of my other videos, I'm going to start at the beginning. I have chapters in the description down below if you want to skip around. I hope you don't skip around too much though, because you can really benefit from watching the whole video. And you might miss something. What are moves in the field? And why do you need to pass tests on them? Moves in the field emphasize essential skating skills and edge control. Moves were first introduced as a testing component in 1996 to replace compulsory or school figures. If you ever wondered how figure skating got its name, it's from figures. Compulsory figures were 60% of a skater's competition score at one time, but they were devalued progressively beginning in 1967. In 1967, the short program was introduced, and figures were reduced to only 30% of a competition score.
The figures are only 30% of the score now. Yes, they are, aren't they?
This is because there were skaters that had very strong figures, but were less impressive in their free skating performance. This confused television audiences because the figures portion of the competition was not televised. Why? Well, because money. It was not very exciting to watch skaters trace the figures, and advertisers weren't interested in sponsoring that portion of the competition, unfortunately. Figures haven't been used as a scoring element in international competition since 1990. Instead, at least here in the United States, U.S. figure skating created moves in the field tests. These tests are designed to ensure that a skater has acquired the skills at a specific level before moving on to the next level. Moves are not just about patterns on the ice. Moves are about posture, carriage, flow, power, and quickness. Each move emphasizes different aspects of these elements. There are 8 moves in the field test in the standard track: pre-preliminary, preliminary, pre-juvenile, juvenile, intermediate, novice, junior, and senior. In the adult track, the levels are pre-bronze, bronze, silver, and gold. As a skater advances, the tests become more challenging, so each test passed is a cause for celebration. When a skater passes the final test, they earn a designation of U.S. Figure Skating Gold Medalist. Skaters that are 21 and older may test either the standard track or choose to test through the adult track. One of the advantages of testing through the adult track is that it's possible to become a gold medalist after only 4 tests rather than 8 with the standard track. Once a skater on the adult track passes the adult gold moves test, they can cross over to the standard track, beginning at the intermediate level. U.S. figure skating requires each skater to pass a moves in the field test before taking their free skating test of the same level. Adult skaters who wish to compete at bronze levels and above must pass their moves in the field and then their free skate tests. By the way, I have another video with my skater Monica taking her adult pre-bronze free skate test and a video of her taking her adult bronze moves in the field test. If you're interested in watching those videos, there's a link to them in the description down below. Even adults that have no interest in competing or taking free skating tests can benefit from preparing for moves in the field. Many adult skaters see this as a way to challenge themselves and improve their skating ability. I usually start adult skaters on the path to test their moves once they're working on adult 5 or adult 6. I find that moves in the field helps to put the skills that the skater has learned up to this point in context. Each level has its own challenges, but each level will help you progress to the next because you've learned new ways of control and power. Test sessions featuring panels of U.S. figure skating officials are hosted by clubs across the country, and now virtually. Angelica took her test as a virtual test. I'm not going to go into all the detail about virtual tests in this video because I've done that in other videos several times. But if you're interested in finding out more about virtual testing, use the links in the description down below. Tests offer skaters the opportunity to highlight their abilities and advance to the next level. Sometimes skaters will feel that moves are not as exciting as practicing jumps and spins, but skaters should understand that moves in the field skills will improve their skating. I've said it before. I will say it again. It doesn't matter how high you can jump or how well you can spin. If the rest of your skating skills just aren't there, how can you execute a jump properly if you don't have a good foundation? Not to mention, your component score includes skating skills and transitions if you compete, even if it's with 6.0 scoring. Components are half of your score. In competition, judges consider use of deep edges, steps and turns, balance, rhythmic knee action, precision of foot placement, flow and glide, varied use of power, speed, and acceleration, use of multi-directional skating, and use of one-foot skating. Moves in the field require a skater to master the skating skills and transitions necessary for their free skating. For the earlier tests, adult pre-bronze and bronze, pre-preliminary and preliminary, no great deal of technical ability or carriage of flow is expected. The skater is expected to know the move and perform it without any significant mistakes. As you progress to higher level tests, the judges expect to see better edges, form, power, and flow. At the highest levels, this is novice, junior, and senior, the skater is expected to provide excellent performance with strong edges, control, and depth, great power, extension, and flow. What this all means is that as you move up as a skater, not only are the skills for each move more difficult, but the overall quality and performance are judged more critically. The skater should skate the correct steps on the prescribed edges. When an inside edge is called for, that is what is required to pass. The skater should skate the pattern as closely as possible to the diagrams in the rule book. While the diagrams are not set dance patterns, The skater development objectives cannot be mastered if the moves are incorrect. The skater should show a steady and marked progression of skill, mastery, and performance at each level as they progress. It's not merely enough to know the steps and get around the rink without falling. You must demonstrate an increasing ability to execute all prescribed bilateral movements, the ability to perform movements on both sides of the body, clockwise and counterclockwise, forward and backward. Let's get to the actual first test in the adult track. Adult pre-bronze moves in the field. This test consists of 5 moves: forward perimeter stroking, counterclockwise and clockwise, basic consecutive edges, forward right and left foot spirals, the Waltz 8, and forward and backward crossovers. The last move, forward and backward crossovers, is an additional move. Standard track skaters do not get that move until their second test, preliminary. I want to bring attention to the fact that the order of the test was changed. This change took effect on July 1st, 2021 for this season, 2021 to 2022. The forward and backward crossovers previously came before the Waltz 8, but now the order is the same as pre-preliminary with the addition of forward and backward crossovers added on as the last move. This change was made so that standard track pre-preliminary moves tests could be executed on the ice simultaneously with an adult pre-bronze moves test. This helps clubs that hold in-person tests maximize their ice time and hopefully save some money. Now I will show you Angelica's test and provide you with commentary that explains what she's done correctly, and even though she passed this test with honors, what could still use some improvement. Following my commentary, I will show her test in the same form that I submitted for this virtual test. You can watch it without my running commentary as well. I'll put that up right here somewhere so that you know where to find it, but it's actually super helpful if you just watch what I'm going to say too. The expectations for this test align with the pre-preliminary moves in the field test. The purpose of this test is to encourage beginning adult skaters to learn the fundamentals of ice skating. No great deal of technical ability, carriage, or flow is expected. Candidates must show knowledge of the steps, fairly good edges, and some evidence of good form. So here is the first move. Adult pre-bronze pattern 1, forward perimeter stroking. The skater will perform 4 to 8 straight strokes, depending on the length of the ice and the skater's strength, with a minimum of 3 crossovers around both ends, using the entire ice surface for 1 full lap of the rink in both directions. Introductory steps are optional. The primary focus is on continuous slow, strength, and extension. This differs from the standard track test, where the focus is on power, with the secondary focus on extension. Power is the creation and maintenance of speed and flow without visible effort. Power is developed by a continuous rise and fall of the skating knee and the pressure of the blade's edge against the ice. The skater should demonstrate the ability to exert equal pressure against the ice surface on both the right and left foot. End results of power are velocity, speed or pace, flow across the ice, and acceleration. Flow plus strength equals power. What the judges are looking for is the skater's ability to maintain a consistent and undisturbed running edge across the ice. Extension. This is the general carriage, characterized by an extended body line. The head's angle flows naturally from the line of the back. The arms should be naturally extended with the shoulders down and back. The skater's hands should follow the line of the movement. The final extended position should be executed in a controlled manner. It should achieve the maximum length of all body lines. Test standards and expectations. Stroking, shallow edges with some flats are okay. Sustained glide with an extension of the free leg. Some evidence of good posture. Skater balanced over the skating foot. Common errors: toe pushing, weak posture, or poor extension. Inability to properly use the blade to stroke. Weak clockwise direction crossovers. You do not want to see stepovers. Rush stroking down the length of the ice rather than achieving a glide with an extended free leg. 4 to 8 strokes. Taller people are expected to take fewer strokes, so use the hockey lines and the dots as your guide. The skating knee can be too stiff. Remember, you want to see a bend and a rise, looking down at the ice instead of ahead of you. Arms held too high, starting and ending the crossovers in the wrong place, not being on an edge for your crossovers. So here's Angelica's forward perimeter stroking. Note how she's pushing properly with good power, extension, and posture. I like to see a bit more rise and fall of her skating knee. She's getting 4 pushes down the ice, pushing from her inside edge. She's able to get around the ends with only 3 crossovers because Angelica is using 2 pushes, which is the correct technique for crossovers. She's just outside the red hockey dots. She's pretty symmetrical, both clockwise and counterclockwise. An excellent way to get used to pushing for glide and extension is to use the hockey lines as your guide if you have trouble knowing when to push or have difficulty counting your strokes. The judge made a note of a check plus on this move. On to the next move, basic consecutive edges. Forward outside edges, inside edges, backward outside edges, and backward inside edges. Starting from a standing position, the skater will perform 4 to 6 half circles, alternating feet, using an axis line such as a hockey line. The skater may start each set on either foot, but they must be skated in the order listed. Here, the primary focus is on edge quality. This is the same focus as in the standard track, pre-preliminary, by the way. Edge quality is initiated through proper body alignment over the skating foot, creating a stable arc that travels uninterrupted until a required transition takes place. Depth of edge refers to the acuteness of the arc and is created by the lean of the body and the angle of the blade when it takes the ice. Good edge quality results in confident, sure, and controlled movement. In other words, substantial steadiness with a minimum of subcurves. Test standards and expectations. Complete half circles, 4 to 6, with equal lobes. Starting edge is close to perpendicular to the axis. Some evidence of good posture and body position. Common errors: toe pushing, not beginning perpendicular to the axis, lacks control on the second half of the back outside edge, or lacks control on the back inside edges. Inability to check upper body rotation, rotating the body too soon and too quickly, or over-rotating at the beginning of the edge, causing the shoulders and hips to over-rotate, which can make it difficult to hold on to the edge and makes the skater feel twisted or stuck when they try to complete the edge. Lobes that are too large or maybe are U-shaped so that the skater must return to the axis on a straight line or a flat rather than being on the proper edge. Not being able to retain alignment over the skating hip. Trailing the pushing foot on the ice instead of picking it up once the weight has been transferred to the other foot. Not enough flow. Lobes maybe are too small or very shallow. Okay, so here are Angelica's forward consecutive edges. There are no introduction steps for this move. Notice that she begins with her foot on the short axis, 90 degrees to the long axis, with her body aligned over her skating foot. Her left arm is in front. However, some skaters and coaches prefer to do this the other way around. I prefer to use the skater's natural inclination rather than requiring a specific arm to be in front. Follow your coach's preferred technique. She's standing perpendicular to the axis with her outside foot turned out to push off the inside edge of her outside foot without toe pushing. She does not rotate immediately. Instead, she's balanced over her skating knee and positioned over her skating hip. She then begins to rise in the knee. This helps to provide forward momentum. momentum. As she rises, she passes her free leg close to her body and changes her arms, also passing them close to her body. She completes each edge with her foot passing in front, with her toe pointed and arms in the beginning position for the next edge. She has good free leg organization and is doing a really good job stepping with her feet together on each push. She went for 5 lopes on this one, which she probably didn't need to do. But in doing so, she's demonstrating control because she was able to cut that edge right up to the board. That's pretty impressive. Angelica pushes and lifts her foot quickly. I would have liked to see her use more of a full half swizzle pump to push onto the back outside edge. This would help her keep her free foot closer to her skating foot after she transfers her weight. This pushes her body weight over her left foot on a well-bent knee. She lifts her foot off the ice before bringing it to her skating foot. These are always the most difficult for skaters to skate in control. Notice how she stands directly on the line. She holds her upper body up over her skating hip for good alignment. After her push, she lifts her left foot up off the ice in front of her skating foot with her toe pointed. She's not rushing to the next position, but taking her time before she brings her toe to her heel and passes her arms close to her body, extending her free leg behind her and switching her arms. As this pattern, basic consecutive edges, is focused on edge quality, the judge noted check plus for forward outside and forward inside. For backward outside, she made a comment about keeping her free leg closer to the skating foot, which I agree with. And for backward inside, she made a check mark. Adult pre-bronze moves number 3, forward right and left foot spirals. The skater will perform right and left foot spirals down the rink's length, maintaining a spiral position on each foot for approximately 4 seconds, with an extended leg held at the hip level or higher. The skater may be on flats and may start on either foot. Introductory steps are optional. This move focuses on extension with an apparent effort to extend body lines and demonstrate control of position. The focus is the same as standard track. Pre-preliminary, standards and expectations. Hold the glide for approximately 4 seconds. Leg at least hip level with back arched and good form. Return to 2 feet and then the next position. Spirals can be very shallow edges or flats. You must be steady. No pronounced lapses in balance. Common errors: inability to balance in a spiral position. The free leg must be above the hip. Often we can see it held too low or off to the side. Edge curving instead of straight lines. Here's Angelica's forward right and left foot spirals. This move has a maximum of 7 intro steps. She held her leg above her hip with arched back and really nice posture for longer than the 4 required seconds. And she displayed really good bilateral symmetry. Although she did hold up her left leg slightly longer than her right, but she was able to get into the spiral position very quickly and hold it for longer than the required minimum. The judge commented check plus on this move. Adult pre-bronze moves number 4, Waltz 8. The skater will perform the Waltz 8 using large circumference circles, completing 2 patterns on each foot with control. The focus is on edge quality with a minimum of sub-curves. Test standards and expectations. Some control of positions and edges. Awareness of rhythmic motion. Waltz timing, which is 3-4. Control after 3 turns. Circles are larger than in figures. You do not need to return to the center, but you do want an axis. Circle cut into thirds, approximately. Common errors: not being able to hold the edge after the 3 turns. This is usually caused by the skater putting too much energy into the turn. It can cause a skater to be whipping the turns around, which then causes the skater to put their free foot down to steady themselves. No rhythm or timing. A waltz counts 3 beats per measure, and this move has 6 beats per edge. Try to skate 3 beats in each position. The back edge is sometimes too short, or the circle is not cut into thirds. Some have difficulty checking the 3 turns. or controlling the forward outside edge, and controlling upper body rotation and position. Most of these issues can be easily solved by not rotating your body as soon as you start an edge. On all three edges, there is time to set the body position and then rotate. Here's Angelica's. Push 2, 3, turn 2, 3, push 2, 3, step 2, 3. Push 2, 3, turn 2, 3, push 2, 3, step 2, 3. The judge's comment was a check plus for this move. Adult pre-bronze pattern number 5, forward and backward crossovers. Like I said before, in the standard track, this is preliminary moves pattern number 1. So it's on the second test for the standard track. This move is all about demonstrating that you can stroke powerful forward and backward crossovers while accelerating with proper skating technique. For the adult track, the focus is on continuous flow and strength. For the standard track, in preliminary moves, power is the focus. It's what the judges are looking for. Remember that flow plus strength equals power. So in my mind, the difference in the focus points between the two tracks is just semantics. This move may start on either direction, on either foot. Forward crossovers must be skated first before the backward crossovers. The pattern may be skated anywhere on the ice. It's common to see this placed in the end hockey circles or centered in the middle of the rink. 4 to 6 crossovers per circle must be skated. Make sure that you skate the correct number of crossovers, at least 4 and no more than 6. The 4 circles should be equal in size. Get into the ice and skate each edge of your forward crossovers on a well-bent knee with good free leg extension. There can sometimes be a tendency for skaters to cross over with their free foot turned out, heel first. The best forward crossovers lead with the toe, not the heel. So it's best to aim your toe at the center of the circle. For the backward crossovers, be sure to reach into the circle with your inside leg and get your second push underneath you. This will help you gain momentum. Standards and expectations. Ability to maintain flow. Correct blade use through the push. Stroked, not stepped. Remember, crossovers have 2 pushes. Ability to increase power. Good posture. We also want to start to see some knee bend and rise. The transitions are critical. 1 foot transitions between the 2 forward circles are expected. The transitions between the 2 forward circles onto the backward circle will be a swing roll to a change of edge into an open mohawk. Again, a 1 foot transition is expected between the 2 backward circles. Common errors include toe pushing or incorrect use of the blade to stroke, forward crossovers weaker than the backward ones, insufficient ability to create power, poor posture, an up and down motion throughout the crossovers. This indicates a lack of smoothness. Judges qualify and observe smoothness and efficiency of the skater by checking where your head and arms are against the horizon or the top of the dasher boards. We sometimes see skaters with crossovers that include only 1 push and scratchy back crossovers because the skater is too far forward on their blade. You want your weight on the middle front of the blade. This is the ball of your foot. If you keep the weight there, you'll have an easier time with your back crossovers because the blade and not your toe pick will be in contact with the ice. I usually suggest that skaters perform this on the 2 hockey circles at the ends of the rink, and that's where Angelica is performing this pattern. Let's look at Angelica's. Wow, she got a nice big swing into that mohawk. Very nice. She's staying off her toe picks and really reaching with her inside leg. Beautiful back crossovers. The judges commented a check plus on this move. So Angelica passed her test with honors. I said to her that I would be surprised if she didn't receive honors, and she said now she would be disappointed if she didn't get honors. Thankfully, the judge recognized her high quality and passed her with honors. It's always nice to see when a judge does that. They don't always, so it's super nice when they do. There were no additional comments from the judge. Next, I will show you her test in the exact form we submitted for her virtual test session. Note that I stood center ice near the dashers between the two hockey team boxes on the judge's side. For those that wonder about things like this, I used a GoPro Hero 10 Black with the media mod for audio. I record it in 4K 60 frames per second with a narrow lens and hyper smooth boost turned on. Bitrate is set to high, auto shutter, and auto white balance with medium sharpness and natural color. To note the date and time, I used my phone to get a timestamp. Also note, this is a continuous shot. I do not stop the camera between moves, and there is no editing. This is exactly as the test was performed in real time. I hope you find this video useful. Please remember to subscribe and tap the bell so that you never miss a video. And share it with anyone else that you think could benefit from it, and on your social media too. Here's Angelica's unedited test.
Hi, my name is Angelica from the North Jersey Figure Skating Club, and I'm testing adult pre-bronze moves in the field.
This is Amy. Happy skating. I will see you real soon. Thank you for watching. Bye. End products of power are velocity,